From the kleptomaniacs of the Imperium, to the kleptomaniacs of the Necrons, to the kleptomaniacs of the Tyranids, Warhammer 40k is a setting all about stealing. No game makes this more apparent than Kill Team, but the only real objective is stealing your opponent's sanity before they can steal yours.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
I love this game, the feel of controlling a squad of dudes where every decision matters, and the fact that the game can be completely flipped on its head in a moment's notice keep me coming back time and time again. That rush of dopamine when one of your operatives rolls hot and gets a double kill, and that overwhelming depression that sets in when your Space Marine champion gets one shot by some chump with a plasma pistol, set this game apart from any others that I've played. In real life, there are only two states of matter. If you believe there are any more, then I'm sorry, but you've been tricked, duped even, by the Lizardmen elite.
Are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard? I'm gonna have to go with no on that.
And, much like in real life, in Kill Team, there are only two states of matter, conceal and engage. When an operative is concealed, they are attempting to stay hidden, using whatever cover is available to them. When engaged, however, the operative will be poking its head up, actively looking for anybody to shoot.
Ready for this? You ready for this?
Y'all ain't ready for this?
Every operative starts the game on conceal, and each time they are activated, the player chooses whether to put them on conceal or engage. Kill Team is built on an alternating activation system, which means that the players take turns by activating an operative, doing 2 or 3 things with that operative, then it's over to the other player. In my opinion, this is much more engaging than the I go you go format of Warhammer 40k, as there's never any long periods of time where you're just sitting twiddling your thumbs while you wait for your turn. Each game of Kill Team is split into 4 rounds, known as turning points. In each turning point, you've got 2 phases, the strategy phase and the firefight phase. The strategy phase is when you play your strategic gambits and strategy ploys. The firefight phase is where the real meat of the game is, during which your operatives take their activations. Another thing I really like about this edition of Kill Team is the kill up. It rewards you with victory points for killing enemy operatives. It wasn't a thing in previous editions, but it really amplifies the lethality of the game and puts the kill back in Kill Team.
Hello, Peter. We're not joining your team.
I'm putting together a team.
We're in.
Another huge draw to Kill Team, for me at least, is the incredible amount of diversity between most teams, from aesthetics to numbers. You could have a dime a dozen ill-equipped 14-man Death Corps team face off against an elite, monstrously alien 5 Beast Raveners team. This is facilitated by the setting of Warhammer 40k, where there is a huge wealth of races and factions to draw from. Although some are admittedly quite vanilla, the Kazakin and Angels of Death teams come to mind, most teams have something that makes them stand out from the crowd. Take the Plague Marines, for example.
Uh-oh. Stinky!
They're built on the basic Space Marine chassis, 3 action points, a 3-up save and 14 wounds. Yippee! But they have a move stat of only 5 inches. While this does limit them in certain aspects, as in Kill Team every inch matters, they are given 2 unique faction rules that make up for it. Poison and Disgustingly Resilient. Poison is exactly what it says on the tin. Certain weapons and abilities poison people, causing them to take damage each time they activate. Disgustingly Resilient, however, allows the Plague Marines to take a bit more of a beating before they go down, subtracting 1 from the damage of any dice that inflicts 3 or more damage on a roll of 4 or higher. My current 3 favourite teams have got to be Deathwatch, Canoptek Circle and Goremongers. The Deathwatch Kill Team is an incredibly versatile elite team that can steamroll through anything that's thrown at them. These guys are the elite of the elite, and they're also what the game is named after. They have an answer for everything. The Horde Slayer for incinerating hordes, the Breacher for punishing bad plays against elites, the Disruptor for general tomfoolery, and the Gunner and Marksman for blasting anybody getting too cocky. I love the Necrons, from their spooky scary aesthetic to their tragic lore. However, the Canoptek Circle team is just a single pit mummy and her sweet, innocent, very heavily armed, baby-eating darlings. Just look at the tomb crawlers. You know when one of those things simply looks in your general direction, it's over. Also, that gun there, that's the Transdimensional Isolator. It literally blasts you into the Phantom Zone. You may think that, if well enough equipped, you'd be able to take on a Macrocite warrior at least. They're the size of what, a big rat? You'd be right, until it respawned. Again, and again, and again. The Necrons have a bit of a habit of reanimating after seemingly being killed, and their pets are no exception. The way this happens deviates from the way the older Necron team, the Hyrotech Circle, did it, but in my opinion, that's for the best, as the Hyrotech Circle just respawned dudes at half health right where they were killed, whereas the Canoptech Circle only allows you to bring one Macrocite warrior back per turning point in your deployment zone. The Goremongers are probably my favourite team at the minute, much to my buddy's chagrin.
You can't keep getting away with it!
They just feel so fluid to play, with 7 inches of movement and the ability to increase it to 8, they can really run amok through the enemy. Add to that the fact that they can be surprisingly tanky and do insane damage in melee, they're just so fun to play. Into horde teams, they suck into elites. It's just an unfortunate byproduct of using your enemy's blood as Red Bull. You have wings, so long as you can actually get the blood. The current edition of Kill Team has 2 main kill zones, Focus and Tomb World. Focus was released at the start of the edition with the Hivestorm set in October 2024 and is set in a ruined city under the shadow of an orbital cannon named the Massive Ballistus. There are plenty of ruined buildings and destroyed walls for operatives to hide behind, and there's also a vantage point that has been a rules nightmare. Tomb World was released later with the Tomb World set in September 2025. It's set in a Necron Tomb World being invaded by the Death Watch. The narrow halls of the Tomb World can lead to some intense gunfights, and the breachable walls and teleport pads allow for a bunch of shenanigans. Fortunately, there are still official rules for older kill zones, such as Gallowdark and that one. However, I've mainly been playing Tomb World recently, and I've been having a blast with it. It can be a pain to set up, but once you get started, it's so much fun. My friend and I have had a ton of interesting moments with it. At first we didn't read the guard rule properly, and by turning point 3 or so, I was 2 Marines down in a Death Watch vs Khazarkan game. I never said I was any good. I had packed my 3 remaining Marines into one of the smallest rooms at the bottom of the map, which my buddy referred to as the Goon Room, and put them all on guard. This meant that if any brave Cadians decided to take a peek, my Marines would have popped a cap in them. A couple did try to teleport in from the adjacent room, but they were swiftly cut down with blade and bolter.
No.
Originally, this section was part of the previous one, but I had a lot of fun writing it and it got a bit long, so I thought it deserved its own section. So, during another game, my mate was playing Void Dancer Troop and I was playing Goremongers. I had filled the big central room with 5 bloodthirsty cultists and 2 of his Harlequins were positioned in the next room, 1 stationed on the teleporter, ready to go. So to counter this, I moved my leader onto the teleport pad in my room and waited. Clearly, the stress of hearing his friends being cut down by snarling chainglaves did something to the poor clown. He activated the teleporter, swapping positions with the Blood Herald. He tried shooting one of my aspirants, but failed miserably, as I had augmented endurance active, letting me reroll my defense dice, then went and cried in the corner. In the other room, things were getting interesting. The leader of the Goremongers, confident that he'd get the Vicroy, charged the other elf. But his confidence was misplaced. His chainblade roared hungrily as it bit nothing but empty air. My friend had activated Segarak's Jest, making my attacks futile. The Blood Herald reeled backwards as the alien blade sliced across his chest. Before he could retaliate, the sound of a keen blade slicing far into unarmoured flesh reverberated around the chamber. He was on his knees now, blood spurting from a deep wound in his shoulder. Before the alien could make another move, the leader took a hit of the Pendulum, instantly revitalizing himself, spat out blood, and stood up. Just as the wretched elf was about to take his head, he moved. With a bellow of rage and every muscle screaming, the leader of the Goremongers swung harder than he'd ever swung before, severing the opponent at the legs. Just as he was about to take his final breath, the Harlequin looked up at his killer and saw the unthinkable. Now, I'm a lazy bum and I really don't like painting, so most of the time you'll find me playing with grey plastic. But the good thing about Kill Team is that you only really need to paint a few minis and that's your team. Also, I found that painting with other people definitely helps. I painted both of my Necron teams with my brother and it really helped ease the pain. We just used some Leadbelcher as a base, a bit of Null Oil for the wash, and some Vallejo Game Color Fluo Green for the glowy bits. They're obviously not perfect, but they don't need to be. If you like painting then great, you can really personalise your teams, but for those of us who don't, just something quick and easy is preferable. I don't even want to think about what it would be like to paint a full 2000 point army for Big Hammer. Kill Team has come a long way, from the dark ages of measuring distances with shapes to now, where it seems to be more popular than ever. Obviously, there are some flaws. I find that the first turning point isn't ever that exciting, as you're just moving up the board. Also, Kill Team has never really been that balanced, however, that is starting to change. Some of the teams revealed and released this year haven't really been to my taste, but I think Games Workshop is going in an interesting direction with the more narrative focused releases. Although the new X-Lite rules seem interesting. All in all, I am cautiously optimistic for the future of the game. There are so many awesome possibilities for future Kill Teams, and I can't wait to see what's coming next. Thank you so much for listening to my incoherent ramblings about this game. I really appreciate it, and I hope it was at least somewhat entertaining. I love you, and I'll see you later.